There is a river at the bottom of the world that never freezes and never slows. The water is black and it does not shine. It moves the way oil moves, thick and patient, and it makes no sound at all. On the far bank there is an island, low and gray, ringed in dead reeds. That is where they take you, And the woman who waits at the water's edge with her long, flat boat, she will row you across only once. She has rowed everyone you have ever lost, and not one of them has ever asked her to row them back, because no one who is taken to that shore ever wants to be returned. That is the first thing the old people of the North understood about the dead. They do not miss you. The people of the cold forests had a name for the place under everything. They called it Tuonela, the land of Tuoni. And Tuoni was not a screaming devil or a king on a throne of fire. He was worse, in a quiet way. He was simply the lord of the dead, old and gray and certain, who sat in the dark with his wife Tuonetar beside him and waited. He never raged. He never bargained. He did not need to. Everyone came to him in the end, walking the long road north and down, and he had only to sit and let the river do the rest. Picture the road. It runs north, past where the trees thin and the ground turns to black bog until it comes to the water. Cold mist hangs over it. There is no bridge. There is only the river of Tuonela, wide and slow and black, and on the other side the island of the dead, where the grass is gray and the dead sit in the half-light and do not speak. To get there you must be carried, and the one who carries you is the daughter of Tuoni, the ferry woman, who rows the flat black boat back and forth across the current and never tires and never warms. When you reach the near bank, she will look at you, and she will ask you 3 things: how you came to the river, who sent you, and whether you are truly dead. The dead she rows across without a word. But sometimes, someone comes to the bank who is still breathing. Someone living, who walked down here on his own 2 feet, with his own beating heart, thinking he could come to the country of the dead and leave again. And to those people, the river of Tuonela tells a different story. Because the river is not only water, the river is a trap. Tuoni had a son, a hunched hook-fingered thing that lived in the current, and his work was the nets. Across the whole width of the Black River, from the near bank to the island of the dead, he had strung nets of iron and nets of copper, 1,000 threads of cold metal woven under the surface of the water where you cannot see them, drawn taut from bank to bank. And they were not there to catch the dead. The dead do not swim. The dead are rowed across, gentle and dry, and they stay. The nets were there for the living, for anyone foolish enough or desperate enough to come down to Tuonela and think they could slip across the river and slip back. You would wade in, or you would swim, or you would change yourself into a fish to dart beneath the boat, and the iron would be waiting. A net you cannot tear, set by hands that never sleep. In water you cannot see through, strung across the only way out. The son of Tuoni watched the threads the way a spider watches a web, and when something living touched the iron, he drew it in, and whatever the river caught, it kept. This is the cold arithmetic of the place. They will carry you in for free, but there is no boat that goes the other way, and under the black water, the iron is always waiting for the ones who try to make their own. So the dead, on their gray island, are not guarded by walls or by fire. They are guarded by a river that flows one way, and a net you only find when it has already closed. And the people of the north believed there was exactly one creature that could move on that water untouched. A great dark bird, gliding the black current between the living and the dead, singing as it went. The Swan of Tuonela. To see it was to know exactly where you were. You had come too far. You were already on the river of the dead. And yet, the oldest story they told was about a man who went down anyway, on purpose, alive. He was the wisest of them. an old singer named Väinämöinen, who knew nearly every word of power there was. Nearly. He was building something, a great work, and he was missing the last 3 words. The deepest words, the words of the very beginning, the ones that finish all making. And there was only one place left where those words still lived. They had gone down into the dead. So the old man did the thing you are never, ever supposed to do. He walked the road north and down to the Black River, and he called across the water for the ferrywoman to come and carry him over. Living, breathing, to Tuonela. And she came. And she asked him the 3 questions: how he came, who sent him, whether he was dead, and he lied 3 times, the way the living always lie at that river. And she heard the lie, but she carried him across anyway, because the country of the dead is happy to let you in. It is the leaving that it has rules about. On the island they sat him down, and Tuonetar brought him a tankard of ale to welcome him. And in the dark of the cup, snakes moved, the ale of forgetting. Drink, old man, and stay. Drink, and never remember the road home. He did not drink. He lay down to sleep among the dead, and while he slept, the son of Tuoni went to the water and began to draw his iron and copper nets across the whole river, every thread sealing the way out behind the one living thing in all of Tuonela. But Väinämöinen was the wisest man in the world, and he had not come unready. He turned himself thin and dark and cold. He made himself into an iron snake, a thing of the river's own metal, and he poured himself into the black water, and he slid through the nets, through the iron mesh that holds the dead. Through copper threads no fish could pass. He went under the boat, under the threads, under the watching eyes of the son of Tuoni, and he came up on the living bank, and he ran. And he did not look back at the gray island or the black water or the woman with the flat boat. And when he was safe and old and home, he told the others what the dead had told him to tell. He said, "Do not go down there living. Many have gone the easy way, walking the road north. Few, almost none, have ever come back up. The river will carry you over for nothing. It is the coming home that no one can afford." That is what the people of the cold north understood. That death is not a fire and not a judgment and not a monster with teeth. It is a black river that flows one way, a ferry that does not return, and a net you only feel when it closes. And that even the wisest man who ever lived went down to that water for 3 words, and barely crawled back out and spent the rest of his days telling everyone else not to follow him. But further south, in the deep forests between the great rivers, another people buried their dead toward the water and the roots of the world. They told of a wet country under the earth, under the roots of a vast tree, ruled by a horned god of cattle and the drowned, and of a pale goddess of death and winter, whom every spring they would carry to the river and drown and burn to be rid of her, and who every year came back. They believed you could kill death itself once a year by the water, and they believed it never, ever stayed dead. Death Gods, Episode 8, The Drowned Goddess. Don't let the fire go out.